50%, and our poorer friends from the Visayas is only receiving 11.1. Can you imagine that? The Visayas gets only 11.1. We get 15.4. And the reason for that is here in the report of the Honorable Secretary. Because nationwide is 25%, that's all right. But then central office gets 10%, 10.2. Why will the central office, reserve 10%? This will be the pork barrel of the cabinet members. It should be pushed already to the regions and improve the region, especially Mindanao and the Visayas. We are not going against Luzon. Luzon, Madam Chair, gets 24%. Mindanao gets 15%. Luzon, excluding NCR. NCR gets 13.3%. We will not complain about that. But we will ask that we improve the figures and the percentages of Mindanao by having the central office give that to the regions where the projects are needed.
Madam Chair, that's true. I agree po with our Congressman Congressman Rodriguez. Some of the projects and programs within the 2026 budget are lodged under the nationwide and central office of each of the departments. For example, the foreign assisted projects, there are some that are really for sa po yung 5 minutes ko. Hindi, joke lang. Some projects that are foreign assisted in nature are actually in the centralized and nationwide, are lodged in the nationwide and central offices of each department. This is also true for projects like For Peace, AIX, and other social protection program. I know that some of the school building programs and even the materials for our DepEd schools are also lodged under the central office. Maybe moving forward, Madam Chair, we can actually show a presentation where will this budget, the allocation for Mindanao will go. But we will have to ask the department secretaries when they implement such projects, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Secretary. So in the Committee of Appropriations, we'll probably call the cabinet members how they can push the percentages to the regions, Visayas and Mindanao. Last point, Madam Chair. Now we go to the regional allocation for agriculture. Very important. Mindanao is said to be the breadbasket of our country, and it thrives on agriculture. Now, if you can see here, the allocation of agriculture in Mindanao from 2025, it was 14.3, still small, but this 2026, it's smaller. It's now 12.2. Can you imagine? Instead of increasing the percentage of Mindanao in agriculture, 14.3 this year, it now becomes 12.2. What is the explanation of the DBM and the DBCC, the Development Budget Coordination Council Committee, on the reduction of Mindanao? Why reduce Mindanao when we are the breadbasket providing 40% of all the food in the country? So bakit? So we know now the answer.
Madam Chair, just two points.
If I may, Secretary Pangandaman, Representative Rodriguez, the time is up, so this would be your last question.
I agree. I always follow the chair.
Thank you very
my
much,
last
Representative
question,
Rodriguez.
and please explain, because what I see here is that the central office gets 45.9. The central office gets 42%, 0.9. Mindanao only gets 12. Visayas gets 9%. Visayas 9%. And then Luzon is 25.9%. And NCR, I cannot see the agriculture in NCR, 9.9%. You see? So those are the things that we in Mindanao would like to know. Thank you, Madam Chair. I end there. And, we always would respect our secretary. And there will be probably means to be able to correct this. After all, Congress will decide on this NEP. And that is why the congressmen are here, especially from Visayas and Mindanao. Let us ask for a better deal for Visayas and Mindanao. Thank you, Madam Chair. Let's get the answer of the Honorable Secretary Amina.
Madam Chair, again, if I may, the nature of the programs and projects under the Department of Agriculture is that most of its programs and projects are actually lodged under the central office. And then we will only be able to see the recipients once they implement the project. Maybe when the Department of Agriculture is already here during their budget deliberation, they can actually explain or unbundle the said programs and projects, and then show which ones will go to the Mindanao. And then second, Madam Chair, there's a big foreign assisted project under the Department of Agriculture that is already ended. This is the PRDP. These are the support services that the World Bank provided the Department of Agriculture. I know that the most of the beneficiaries under that foreign assisted program are actually given to Mindanao, Madam Chair.
Thank you,
Mr. Chair.
Secretary. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Representative Rufus Rodriguez. So at this juncture, I believe everyone is hungry. It's already almost 1 p.m. If everyone is okay, we'll break for 30 minutes to have lunch, and we'll resume here in the plenary at 1:30 p.m. And then and to give way to the plenary session this afternoon, we'll move to Romualdez Hall at around 2:30 p.m. So yes, so we'll break for a 30-minute lunch break. We'll be back here at the plenary at 1:30 p.m. Plenary po muna. And then we move later pa po. Thank you very much. See you at 1:30 p.m. Briefing is suspended.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Hirap, sir, sumagot. Kailangan ko pa sa-
Announcements. All the secretaries up to the assistant secretaries, you are all invited at the social hall. Thank you.
Pwede naman.
Tubig ah. Pasok mo doon ah. Oo.
Check. Audio check. Sound check. Test.
The briefing is resumed. The chair would like to recognize the next member to interpolate from the minority, the Honorable Representative Nico Daza. You have the floor, Representative Daza.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Madam Chair, if I can ask the Secretary of DBM, I understand that the Constitution allows within the submission of the NEP within 30 days. But I believe this year it was delayed by about 16 days when historically in the last 2 years it was submitted 1-2 days after the SONA. May I ask our good Secretary Amina for the reason for the delay?
Madam Chair, I don't think we relate because it's within the 30 days as provided by the Constitution.
If I may reiterate, Madam Chair, I understand we can submit the NEP within 30 days, but in 23 and 24, it was submitted 2 days after SONA. But this SONA in 25, it was submitted 16 days. May I just wonder, because of course we want to have an expeditious consideration of the GAA. Any days that it may be delayed, even if it's within the 30 days, we want to be expeditious with the process. So I think it'd be important to understand perhaps the difference with this year compared to
We
previous
received a
years.
total of 10.1 trillion worth of proposals from the departments and agencies. And as I mentioned a while ago in our presentation, the President himself sat with the department cabinets and heads of the different agencies. So we took our time to really review the proposals and the programs which to be included in the proposed budget for 2026.
Okay. Madam Chair, with some research, and I apologize if I belabor the point now. With some research, and I was informed, the reason also for the delay it takes to file the NEP or adopt the NEP as the General Appropriations Bill is because, may I ask the good secretary, is it true that the DBM submits a hard copy to the House Secretariat rather than a soft copy as well?
Yes, there's a hard copy, but on the same time, when we provided the hard copy to the Congress, soft copy is already live in our website.
Okay. The reason why I bring this up, because, Madam Chair, in the efforts to push for budget reform and transparency, part of it was the abolishment of the small committees, the included participation of more civil service, civil society organizations. I believe this time it takes to file the GAB because of this issue between briefings and hearings. Perhaps that's something that we should look into, this old practice of submitting the hard copy, because if we can adopt the NEP as is when released and file it as a GAB immediately, and have it referred to the rules or have it sponsored
From the creditor and the implementing agencies. We have a list of the programs, but it has yet to be approved by the NEDA board, and they have to have a perfected contract prior to including it in the program level of each and every department. So we put it there. So the breakdown is that for of the 250 billion pesos, 97.3 billion will go to the support to foreign assisted projects that yet to be approved by the NEDA board. And there's 80 billion for soft and infrastructure programs. There's a budget also of 50 billion for the revised AFP modernization program. And then there's a small amount of there's 6.9 billion for budgetary support to GOCCs. The emergency health allowance is also here, 6.8 billion pesos. Risk management program, 3.6 billion pesos. Marawi Siege, 2 billion. Comprehensive and adequate insurance protection and strategically important government asset and interest, 2 billion. There's a small amount for the CARS program, the fiscal support arrearages for comprehensive automotive resurgence strategy. This is the support to motor vehicles being produced in the country. This is implemented by the DTI. And refund of the service development fee for the right to develop the Nampedai property in Tokyo, Japan, 200 million, and a very little amount for prior years LGU shares. Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I'd like to thank the good secretary. Actually, this is a good segue into my next question, which is, how do we prioritize our releases? You mentioned foreign assisted, infra, social. How do we prioritize this? Do we prioritize social services first, infra projects? How much of it was utilized in 23 and 24? Can we also get a report on the actual releases with dates, descriptions, and other details, and corresponding justification of the releases?
The unprogrammed appropriations, there's a provision under the National Expenditure Program, which is actually carried in the General Appropriations Act. There are triggers for the availment of the unprogrammed appropriations. Do we have the exact section? Anyway, the amounts authorized herein for the purposes of one of the specified programs, it may be used when any of the following exist. First, there should be excess revenue collections in any one of the identified non-tax revenue sources from its corresponding revenue collection target as reflected in the BESF. Second, new revenue collections and those arising from new tax or non-tax sources which are not part of nor included in the original revenue sources as reflected again in the BESF.
Sorry, Madam Chair, because medyo naputol.
Yes. Secretariat, please check on the microphone of Secretary Pangandaman, please. Apologies for that, Sorry po.
Ayan, ayaw na mawala. Okay, and so there are triggers before we can release the unprogrammed appropriations. And as to the prioritization, it's also included in the special provision. The prioritization are as follows. Not required, first, there are two items. First, not requiring excess or new revenue collections. These are the support to foreign assisted projects and budgetary support to government-owned and controlled corporations. Meaning po, tatama po sa fiscal deficit ng ating gobyerno. Second, which requires excess and new revenue collections. On top will be the personnel benefits. Second will be social services. Third will be Government of the Philippines counterpart, GOP counterpart for foreign assisted projects. Fourth, infrastructure projects. And lastly, other priority projects as authorized within the enumerated programs under the unprogrammed appropriations. Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, in line with this, I asked if we could get a report on the actual releases with
You can
dates.
provide the committee, Madam Chair, of the list of the releases in the unprogrammed appropriations, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, sorry to clarify, you will be furnishing this committee?
We will. We will.
Okay. Madam Chair, thank you to the good secretary.
It's available po, Madam Chair.
On the issue of ACAP, to my dismay, no, because within my constituency, we rely on the ACAP fund. May I ask, why is it being defunded or why is it not being funded? I misspeak. Why is it not being funded for 2026?
Madam Chair, as I mentioned a while ago, we'll just have to prioritize the projects and programs that was proposed by each and every department. Again, may I repeat, we receive a total of 10.1 trillion pesos. And upon review, there's still 13 billion balance from the 26 billion pesos appropriated for this year. So the DPWH can still use of that until the end of the year.
Madam Chair, so it's my understanding now we have continuing appropriations from 24 and 25, but because we're entering 2026, 2024 will lapse. Could I ask the good secretary, what is the remaining available fund from 24 and 25? And does the good secretary believe that this will be sufficient for 2026?
2025, yeah, there's still 13 billion pesos which can be used until the end of the year, until 2026, until next year.
Okay. So Madam Chair, I'd just like to manifest, no, I think the ACAP program, it's a very good program. I hope it won't be permanently defunded because marami po kaming mga workers na kumikita pero naghihirap pa. Aming mga farmers, fisher folk, below minimum wage ang kinikita nila. So having workers working less than minimum wage, ACAP really addresses this gap, no? So I hope that, I guess to give an analogy, like a car, if masiraan ka ng gulong, we don't junk the car, we change the tire. So my manifestation is, I hope it's not defunded, but we improve the implementation of ACAP. That will be all. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Representative Daza. Additional question on the part of the chair po, Sec Mina. If we may clarify, as of kailan po yung 30 billion? July 2025 or ano po yung as
Within-
of date?
July 31.
July 31, 2025. Thank you very much, Secretary Pangandaman. Thank you very much, Representative
Thank you, Madam
Daza.
Chair.
Before we proceed to the next interpolator, I just wanted to highlight we have to give way to the plenary session at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So we'll do one more interpolator here in the plenary. Then we will suspend for a little bit and we'll transfer to Romualdez Hall for the rest of the DBCC for the entirety of the afternoon until mohapong hanggang evening. We'll do one more interpolator because we have to move at 2:30 p.m. to give way to the plenary session at 3 p.m. So may I now recognize from the majority, Vice Chairperson Brian Poe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Quite quickly, I just have a few questions. I'll start with the first question directed towards the DBCC chair. So first, I want to commend the economic team on shepherding us towards a downward inflation trend. But as many of us know, especially when it comes to economics, a big chunk of that comes from our rice and meat numbers. No? And as we also know, a lot of that is kept artificially low because of our tariffs, which have been lowered, as well as price ceilings. However, there are certain items within the NEP which are considered long-term provisions towards addressing these inflation concerns. One of which is the Rice Competitive Enhancement Fund. And this goes towards badly needed credit for farmers, training, and mechanized needs. No, I want to know the status of this fund and whether it's been increased in the NEP as compared to the previous years. This is, of course, for our constituents who are farmers in Pangasinan.
I think this, Madam Chair, if I may, I think we will implement the first year implementation of the law. I think there's a amendment to the previous RCEP law. So there will be an increase in the RCEP with the following breakdown. It's a total of 30 billion pesos. The first 9 billion pesos will go to rice farm machineries and equipment. The 6 billion will go to rice seed development, propagation, and promotion, which shall be released to and implemented by the Philippine Rice Research Institute. Well, the first 9 billion will be released to and implemented by the Philippine Center for Post-Harvest Development and Mechanization, or PhilMech, Madam Chair. And then the balance of 15 billion will go to other priority programs, activities, and projects, Madam Chair. With the President is authorized to allocate the said amount to be endorsed by the Secretary of the Department of Agriculture, Madam Chair.
I'm very happy to hear that, and I'll be happy to report that to our farmers in Pangasinan. Moving on to my second question for our finance secretary. Revenue being one of the major parts of this briefing, I want to discuss really briefly the revenue that's generated by online gambling. I'm as per previous reports, I believe it's less than 1% of our GDP. Is that correct?
Total revenue from online gambling that goes to the national government is roughly about 60 billion.
About. Is it safe to say that should there be stricter regulations or maybe even possibly a complete ban of online gambling, that there are other streams of revenue that could be looked into in order to compensate for said lost industry?
We'll gladly work with you on that. Any additional revenue stream for the national government will be very much welcome.
Well, that's good to hear, considering there are two that this representation is looking into, and that would be taxes on plastic, since we don't have a national excise tax on that, but we contribute 2.7 million metric tons of plastic waste, which 20% of which goes into water waste, which causes our flooding problem that we have right now. And second is mining, which compared to the rest of the global industry, we're only at a 2% excise tax. Only reason why I bring that up is just on the off chance that we become stricter when it comes to gaming. I want your assurance, Secretary, that we'll be able to find other forms of
Yes.
revenue.
Insofar as mining is concerned, we just passed the rationalization of mining.
Yes, ma'am.
We expect the president to sign that pretty soon. That's number one. Number two, we still have one more revenue measure still in Congress, the single-use plastics excise tax. So with very much need your support. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Madam Chair, I'd like to ask my next question to the DepDev Secretary. Mr. Secretary, I'd like to ask, is there any funding for a national study on debt or the debt problem that many Filipinos are facing today?
We don't have current one, but I think that is something that we can do given our resource, the resources that we have and the mandate, that in collaboration with the finance and of course DBM.
It's a good question for the entire DBCC, because from what my constituents are telling me, they're often burdened by debt, whether it's online gambling related or if it's agri related because of the recent typhoons. And it's a good question to ask because we allocate so much of our budget towards social services, which actually brings up a second question for the DepDev Secretary regarding the social services spending that we have, it's 2.3 trillion, correct? Roughly 34.1% of our budget is towards social services. Are there any studies that have been conducted on what investments we have to make in order to lower the spending that we have on social services?
First, there have been studies showing the high cost of to the economy and our society of the COVID-19 pandemic with respect to health and to education. These scaring effects of the pandemic are still evident and will likely to continue for the years to come. And so there's commitment on our part to start addressing that aggressively so that the future generation and those future workers who are coming in 5, 10, 15 years from now will be able to recover what they lost. So there's a sufficient basis for prioritizing on health, education, food security, and agriculture. And that's why for this 2026 budget, we are prioritizing that over other expenditures.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The only reason why I asked that question is it's quite concerning how much we have to continually spend in social aid. If there's anything that we can invest in terms of long-term, I guess, mitigation efforts for a lot of these social concerns, then maybe we should already start looking into that during this budget season. So if there are any studies that your offices can furnish to us, we'd be very thankful to be able to look into it. Another question that I have, well, I was hoping to ask our SAPEA, but for the DBCC in general, what foreign direct investments do we have to look forward to in 2026? And is there anything in this budget season that we need to protect as Congress to make sure that these foreign direct investments push through in 2026?
I think we need to protect the priorities on education, health, and social protection, including connectivity. I recognize the earlier question this morning about our regions. The priority should be to connect our regions, the particular lagging regions from the leading regions, so that inclusivity can be realized and so that no one is left behind with this rapid economic growth. That's all. I think that if we can prioritize on those sectors in the medium term, we should be able to realize our target of single-digit poverty level by the end of this administration.
All right, Madam Chair, just my last question for the DBCC in general. Is there any youth programs that we're looking forward to that would help us in terms of future-proofing our next generation workforce against the changing industries due to AI? So is there anything that we're looking forward to in terms of that, or in terms of support for out-of-school youth in terms of getting them back on their track for education or employment?
I may start before my colleague Sekmina will also answer. But we have a law just passed by Congress, a Trabajo para sa Bayan law, and that actually addresses the issues and preparing our workers, especially given the challenges of AI and the mismatches between what our schools are producing versus the needs of these dynamic industries, particularly those coming from disruption of technologies.
To add, Madam Chair, we have a couple of projects and programs under TESDA. I heard that you mentioned about the AI. The national government already the president already approved a roadmap on artificial intelligence, including those who will be displaced as a consequence to the increased use of artificial intelligence. And I know DOST heads this group who will study the AI consequences and its implication to the economy and then to those workers that will be displaced together with NEDA. But yeah, as to the budget, we have a couple of funding which we provided for next year under TESDA. Can I- Sorry. Okay, so we have the training for work scholarship program. I know you can ask this, of course, when Secretary Benitez comes here. But I know that the total budget of 4.3 billion pesos for the training of work scholarship program they will earmark a portion of this to help those who will be displaced as a result of the AI, increasing use of AI. And same way, we have provided 1.6 billion pesos for the special training for employment program or STEP, and some 448 million pesos for the support innovation in the Philippine Technical and Vocational Education and Training System. There's also TVET for micro-credential with 500 million. And there's Enterprise Education and Training or EBET with, this is a new law. So they're still organizing this office. Thank you. That's all, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, in the interest of time, I just want to say thank you for the patience of our economic team. If we could have some copies of the things that you have mentioned to be furnished to our office, I'll address the individual departments regarding those concerns. But thank you again for your patience and guidance regarding this year's budget. Madam Chair, I yield the floor.
Thank you very much, Representative Poe. So to give way to the plenary session at 3 p.m. this afternoon, we will suspend session for the DBCC, and then we will request everyone to proceed to Romualdez Hall for us to continue the briefing. Thank you very much. Briefing is suspended.